নেট প্রচন্ড স্লো না, নেটটা প্রচন্ড স্লো দেখছি কাল থেকে। Good morning all. Am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Sam. So hope all of you have spent the puja vacation very well. So and hope all of you have given the mid-semester examination very well also, because I have given from my portion a little bit of syllabus so that you can prepare before the first mid-semester examination. So just can anyone tell me how much I have discussed before the puja vacation? Have I discussed how to find out the harmonic conjugate? Anyone?
No, sir.
Sir, sorry, I can't hear you properly, Prakash.
No, sir. You taught up to Riemann equation. Conditions for the Riemann.
No, harmonic conjugate have I not discussed? Harmonic conjugate. That means if a analytic function fz is given, whose real part is mentioned u, v is not there, we can find out v. If v is given, u is not there, we can find out u to frame the analytic function. So have I discussed the method? There are total three methods. So I think I have discussed two methods. No, have I not discussed two methods? Okay. So if an analytic function is given fz, whose real part is u, but imaginary part is not there, so we can find out v from u to frame the analytic function fz. So total there are three methods. So I hope I have discussed two methods. No, have I not discussed two methods? Hmm?
Sir, only one.
Only one.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so let me share the screen, and I am actually discussing that method as well as I will be discussing other two methods also today. Can you see the screen now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this thing I have actually written over here the previous day whenever I have taken class in electrical, so I will be discussing from here. So if you have any kind of doubts or queries at any time, you can unmute yourself and ask questions. So here we will be discussing method for finding out the harmonic conjugate. Before that, what is the harmonic conjugate? I have also discussed this, but just I want to recapitulate this so that you can remember, since I have discussed a month ago. So if fz is analytic, so the consequences of a function fz to be analytic is that all the four partial derivatives del u del x, del u del y, del v del x, del v del y all will be continuous, and the partial derivatives must satisfy the Cauchy-Riemann equation. That is del u del x equals to del v del y and del u del y equals to minus del v del x. And if fz is analytic, then its real part is u and imaginary part is v. So if fz is analytic, then both of its real and imaginary part u and v will be harmonic functions. What do you mean by the harmonic functions? harmonic functions means if u is a harmonic function, then you will satisfy this equation del 2u del x2 plus del 2u del y2 equals to 0 and del 2v del x2 plus del 2v del y2 equals to 0. So these two are inclusive. That means if fz is analytic, then both of its real and imaginary part will be harmonic functions. Again, if fz is a function, fz is a function whose real part is u and imaginary part is v, where both are harmonic, then it will imply that the given function fz must be analytic. So that means these two are inclusive. That means if fz is analytic, then both of its real and imaginary part will be harmonic functions. That means they will satisfy this condition. And if u and v are harmonic for a function fz, then it will obviously be an analytic function. Okay. So now, if a function is analytic, then what is the significance of a function to be analytic? So in order to frame a complex valued function, we need both real and imaginary part, which is u and v. But if u is known and fz is harmonic, we can find out v to frame the analytic function fz. Similarly, if v is known but u is unknown, we can find out u if fz is an analytic function to frame the function. That means both the real part and imaginary part are not required to frame an analytic function. Rather, if we know any one out of these two, either real part or imaginary part, from that we can actually construct the function fz whenever fz is an analytic function. So for an analytic function fz, the real and imaginary part u and v called as the harmonic conjugates of each other. Okay, is that clear up to this? Is that clear up to this?
Yes, sir. Basically, the necessary
Yes, sir.
condition that is that fz should be analytic. Then we can find, sir, the real or the imaginary part.
Yeah. Yes. So here u is known. So there are total three methods. So I'll be discussing three methods. So as Sachin told that I have discussed first method. So although I am discussing it once more, and I'll be discussing the remaining two also. So u is known. We need to find out v, and it is given that u and v both are real and imaginary part respectively of the given function fz. So since we need to find out v, so we can represent the total differential of v in that form. Del dv equals to del v del x into dx plus del v del y into dy. So since v is not known to us, so we can't find del v del x and del v del y. But since fz is analytic, so it will satisfy the Cauchy-Riemann equation. That's why the partial derivatives of v with respect to x and y can be replaced in terms of the partial derivative of u with respect to x and y. So we know that as per the Cauchy-Riemann equation, del v del x equals to minus del u del y and del v del y equals to del u del x. So we are replacing this. So now you know that this differential equation is in the form m dx plus n dy, where m is minus del u del y and n is del u del x. So in general way I had shown in the before the puja vacation that this sort of differential equation which we can frame from here will be obviously an exact differential equation. Because here m is actually, if this will be exact differential equation means del m del y should be equals to del n del x. So m is here minus del u del y. So del m del y will be del 2u del y2. Similarly, del n del x is actually del 2u del x2. Since sum of both is 0, so minus of second derivative of this will be equal to minus of second derivative of this. So obviously here del m del y will be equal to del n del x. So since this differential equation is exact differential equation, so we can solve it very easily. So we'll integrate both ends. So while we'll be integrating m with respect to x, we'll be keeping y as constant. And while we'll be integrating n with respect to y, since already we have integrated the terms that contains x and y both here in case of n, that's why here we need to integrate only those terms of n which doesn't contain x with respect to y. Then we'll be getting the solution. So this method I have discussed, no Sajin? Have I discussed this?
Yes, sir. From not this or much, sir, but little bit of it.
Okay. So just I am giving one example and I think it will be clear. So here, let's say u is given as half of log x square plus y square, and we are claiming that this u is the real part of an analytic function. So we need to find out the harmonic conjugate. So before finding out the harmonic conjugate, we need to show that the u which is mentioned over here is an analytic is an harmonic function. So for that, just we need to find out the second order partial derivatives of u with respect to x and y, and we need to add them. If this gives 0, then we can say that this function is harmonic. Then we can proceed to find out the corresponding harmonic conjugate. That means v, that is the imaginary part. So we will be replacing here dv as del v del x dx into del v del y dy. So since del v del x del v del y are unknown to us, as u is given, so we will be replacing this in terms of u, that is minus del u del y dx plus del u del x dy. Now u is given over here, so we need to find out the partial derivative. So minus time will be there. So half of log x square plus y square. So that means if I differentiate this with respect to y partially, that will be 1 by x square plus y square. 2 will be coming over here, and the partial derivatives of this with respect to y, that will be 2y. 2 will be deducted. So that will be minus y by x square plus y square dx. And here, if I differentiate this with respect to x partially, then it will be half 1 by x square plus y square. Then the partial derivatives of this with respect to x, that will be 2x, 2 will be deducted, so this will be x by x square plus y square. So here m is this and n is this. So in order to verify whether this given differential equation is an exact differential equation or not, just we need to check whether del m del y equals to del m del x. So here m is minus y by x square plus y square. So del m del y means we need to differentiate this partially with respect to y. So this is the quotient of two functions. So this will be x square plus y square whole square. This is x square plus y square. Partial derivatives of this with respect to y, that will be minus 1. Minus of minus y fixed. The partial derivatives of these with respect to y, that will be 2y. So if you simplify this, it will be minus y square minus x square by x square plus y square whole square. And here n is x by x square plus y square. So del n del x will be, we need to differentiate this partially with respect to x. So the numerator and denominator square, denominator is fixed, the differential of numerator with respect to x partially, that is 1, minus x is fixed, the derivative of denominator with respect to x partially, that is 2x. So if you simplify this, this will be y square minus x square by x square plus y square whole square. So from here you can find del m del y equals to del n del x, both are same. So that's why this differential equation will be an exact differential equation. So we can proceed to differentiate this very easily with respect to x and y in both sides. So if we differentiate, if we integrate this, this will be dxy. In the left hand side, minus y will be treated as constant while we are integrating with respect to x partially. Since here, y will be treated as constant. So minus y is fixed, then 1 by x square plus constant square. So you know that the integration of this with respect to x will be 1 by constant, that is 1 by y into tan inverse x by y. And then we need to integrate n with respect to y. So since already we have integrated x, y both terms with respect to x, so here we need to integrate only those terms in n which doesn't contain x. So here this term contains x, that's why we need to neglect this term. So this we will not get anything from here, and this constant will be c. So here v is minus tan inverse x by y plus c. So then u is given and v we have already got, so we can substitute this v to frame the analytic function fz. So you can cross verify if you wish that this function fz which is mentioned over here will be obviously an analytic function. Is the method is clear? Is the method clear?
Sir,
Yeah.
yes, sir. Sir, can you move the slide upward one, sir? I have to ask question. Can
Yeah.
you move the sir del 2u by del x square plus del u 2y del y square equal to 0? It is a necessary condition for function to be harmonic.
Yeah, this is a necessary condition for a function to be harmonic.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Is that clear? Have you understood this?
Yes, sir.
So can you repeat again why the second part is coming 0?
Yeah, second part is coming zero means I think you have forgot whatever you did in second semester. So in order to integrate or solve the exact differential equation, what you need to do? So we can there are two methods. Either you can integrate this first. There are three methods actually. Either you can integrate m with respect to x partially first. You can integrate n with respect to y partially first. Then you can take the common terms, because from here if you integrate and here if you integrate, you will be getting the same term. So we won't consider both the terms twice. That's why either if we want to integrate both separately, we need to do that. Then we need to consider only the common terms to frame the solution. Otherwise, if we want to do it directly, what we can do? We can actually integrate this with respect to x by keeping y constant, and we can integrate only those terms of n which doesn't contain x, because already we have integrated with respect to x, so we won't do it twice. Otherwise, you can integrate this with respect to y first, then you can integrate only those terms here which doesn't contain y, since we have already integrated y. Is that clear?
Yes.
Otherwise, both the terms will be coming twice. So we won't want to consider that. That's why we need to consider only one term once. That's why here, if we integrate with respect to x, we need to omit those terms here which contains x. Similarly, if you integrate this first, here you need to omit those terms which contains y, since already we have integrated with respect to y. This is the rules for solving exact differential equation. Okay, is that clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's clear.
Okay. Okay. Then I am discussing the second method. So second method, similarly, u is known, we need to find out v. Otherwise, if v is known, we need to find out u. Just we need to reverse it. That means if v is given, we need to find out u. So du will be replaced by du del, dx dx plus del u del y dy. Then since v is known, we need to replace u by v, and we need to cross it in that way. So in the second method, whatever we'll do, just we'll start with the Cauchy-Riemann equation. Since the function fz is analytic, whose real part is u, which is mentioned, and the imaginary part is missing. So here, what we need to do, we need to start with the Cauchy-Riemann equation. So v is unknown. So as per the Cauchy-Riemann equation, we know there are two equations: del u del x equals to del u del y, and del u del y equals to minus del u del x. So since v is not known to us, we need to find out v. So we are starting with the first equation. So del v del y equals to del u del x. So since u is known, we can find out del u del x very easily. Then whatever we will do, we will integrate both ends partially with respect to y. So if you integrate both sides partially with respect to y, that will be vxy. We need to integrate this term with respect to y partially. That means y partially means we will consider the terms that contains x as constant. Then here, the integrating constant will not be merely constant, rather it will be a function of x while we are integrating partially with respect to y. Why? Because you know that differentiation is the opposite process of integration. So if you differentiate this again, you should get back this. So if you differentiate this partially with respect to y, that will be del u del y. If you differentiate this with respect to y, that will be del u del x. And the derivative of this will be 0 since we are differentiating this partially with respect to y. So the functions that contains x will be treated as constant. So that's why while we are integrating something partially with respect to y, the integrating constant will be a function of x. Similarly, if you integrate something partially with respect to x, the integrating constant will be a function of y. Is that clear? Is that clear or not?
Yes, sir, it is clear.
Then, as per the second equation, del u del y equals to minus del u del x. So already we know del u del y because u is known. So here minus del u del x should be replaced. From where will be getting the value of minus del u del x? So already we have got this solution. So we will be differentiating this partially with respect to x. Then this will be del u del x equals to del x of this plus phi dash x. Because this is a function of x only, so here the derivative will be ordinary derivative. Now we will be replacing this term here instead of del v del x. So here this is known, only this is unknown. So by solving this, we will be getting the value of phi x. Then by substituting it here, we will be getting the value of vxy. So in that way also we can find out the corresponding harmonic conjugate of u if it is not mentioned to frame the analytic function fz. Is that clear? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now I am giving one example, then I hope you will be able to understand the method quietly. So here similarly it is given that is e to the power x cos y. So firstly, if we want to proceed, first we need to verify whether this given function is a harmonic function or not. So for that you need to find out the second order partial derivative of u with respect to x and y. You need to add them together. If this provides you the value 0, then you can say that this function is harmonic function. So if it is harmonic, then you can proceed further. So here, as per the previous method which I have discussed, so we need to consider the Cauchy-Riemann equation. So we are considering as the first Cauchy-Riemann equation, that is del u del x equals to del v del y. So del u del x is known because u is known. So we will be finding out del v del y. So del v del y equals to del u del x. So u is e to the power x cos y. So del u del x will be again e to the power x cos y. Since if we differentiate this partially with respect to x, so this term will be differentiated with respect to x, that is e to the power x, and this will be constant. So this is e to the power x cos y. Now we want to integrate this partially with respect to y. So what we will do, if we want to integrate this partially, it will be vxy. Integration of this with respect to y plus the integrating constant will be a function of x, since we are integrating this partially with respect to y. Now if you integrate this partially with respect to y, this term that contains x will be treated as constant. The integration of cos y with respect to y will be sin y, and that will be phi x. Okay. Now the second equation is del u del y equals to minus del v del x. So del v del x will be minus del u del y. So what is the value of del u del y? So u is this. So del u del y will be e to the power x minus sin y. So minus term is there, minus of e to the power x minus sin y. So now from where we will be getting the value of this? So we have already got this. So we need to differentiate this partially with respect to x. So if you differentiate this partially with respect to x, you will be getting here del v del x, that is equal to e to the power x sin y plus phi dash x. So now we will be replacing the value of del v del x which we have obtained from here. We will be substituting here in the left hand side. So we have put it here. So this term will be cancelled out. So ultimately we'll be getting from this equation phi dash x equals to 0. So phi dash x equals to 0 means d phi dx equals to 0. So if we solve this equation, we will be getting phi x equals to constant. So just we will be replacing it here. So get the to get the value of vxy. So vxy will be e to the power x sin y plus c. So that is our equate harmonic conjugate of the given function u. So if we want to frame the analytic function whose real part is u, which is mentioned over here, that will be u plus iv. So this will be this. Was that clear? Is that clear or not?
Sir, can you move the slide upward 1 second, sir?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir, there you have written del v del x is equal to minus del u by del y. Sir, you are putting the value of del u by del y. We will get the value of del v by del x. After that, what you are doing, sir? You are integrating with respect to, yes, sir, that line.
This one here.
E to the power x sin y phi dash x. Sir, what you from where you got that?
This one. Okay. So there
Sir,
are two
where
equations.
you,
There are two equations. There are two Gauss-Riemann equations. This is one. This is one. Right? Is that clear?
yes, sir.
So from first equation, we are what we are doing. We are integrating this partially. If we integrate this partially, we will be getting this thing. Okay. Is that clear or not?
Yes, sir. This one is
So
clear.
which is
Yes,
unknown here? Here phi x is unknown.
yes, sir.
So we need to find out phi x. So if we want to find out one unknown, we need one equation. So from where we are getting this equation, we are getting this equation, or we are constructing this equation rather from the second Gauss-Riemann equation. So as per the second Gauss-Riemann equation, we are getting this. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So del u del y is known. We are putting this value. Now del u del x is not unknown. To solve this equation, we need both left hand side and right hand side. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
So from where
Yes,
we
sir.
will be getting the left hand side? So we will be getting the left hand side. Already we have got vxy in terms of phi x. So we will be differentiating this with respect to x partially. Then we are getting this. So we will be substituting this value of del v del x here. So only
Yes,
unknown
sir.
is here phi dash x. So then we can
Yes.
solve it to get the value of phi x. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now,
So
thank you.
there are two methods. Either you can use this method or you can use this method. So whatever method you wish to use, you can use this. So both are same. Actually, the main motto of both these methods are same. That means if u is given, we can find out v, or if v is given, we can find out u. This is the main thing. So either you can use the first one or you can use the second one. Whichever is convenient to you, you can use that. Okay. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Sir, we can find out the real part as well as imaginary part both.
Yeah. If one is given, you can find out another one. So if say let's say here v is given, okay, u is not given, v is given, let's say. So if v is given, so what we will be doing here? We will be putting the value of v, we will be integrating u with respect to x partially. Okay.
Yes, sir. We will get the
Then
value.
we'll be processing in that same manner to get the value of u. Just u will be replaced by v. Whichever is unknown, we will be finding out the value of that only by using the value of known thing. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So is it clear for everyone? If you have any kind of doubt, you can ask me.
No, sir.
Okay. Now there is one another method. This is the third method. What is the significance of this third method? So if we want to use the first method or second method, and you are asked to find out or construct the analytic function, so you are getting the analytic function in terms of x and y. But this is a function of z. If you are asked to find out the function in terms of z, you won't be able to find out from here because you need to here replace x plus iy by z. Then you need to do it. So this will be very much tough for you to convert this in a function of z. So if in a problem it is not mentioned to find out the harmonic conjugate, rather it is asked to find out the analytic function directly. Let's say u is given. Without finding out v, you need to construct fz. So you can't do from here because if u is given, first you need to find out v to construct the analytic function. Or if v is given, you need to find out u first to construct the analytic function. But without finding out the corresponding harmonic conjugate, never ever from these two methods you can find out the value of the analytic function fz. But if you want to find out the analytic function fz directly from either real part or imaginary part without finding out the harmonic conjugate, you can't do it from these two methods. So for that we need to use the third one, that is the Milne-Thomson method. So here if u is known, without finding out v, directly we can construct fz in terms of z. Is that clear? Is that clear or not?
Yes, sir.
So that is the main thing we are going to get from this method. So you know that the derivative of the complex valued function fz in terms of z can be written in terms of the partial derivatives of real and imaginary part. So fz dash can be written in the form of del u del x plus I del v del x if we want to find out the derivative of this with respect to the partial derivatives of x. Otherwise, we can find out the derivative of f with respect to z with respect to the partial derivatives of y. That means f dash z equals to del u del y plus I del v del y. So let's say we are considering this. That means fz dash is this. So here, since u and v both are functions of x and y, so their partial derivatives will also be functions of x and y. So here f dash z is del u del x plus I del v del x. So here u is known, so v is unknown. So since fz is analytic, so we will be replacing del v del x in terms of u. So that will be minus del u del y. So ultimately f dash z will be del u del x minus I del u del y. Okay. Now these two partial derivatives will be functions of x and y, since the original function fz, where the real part u and v are there, are functions of x and y. So their partial derivatives will also be functions of x and y. So now in order to construct the function fz in terms of z directly, what we need to do? We need to convert this x and y in terms of z. Otherwise, this function like here will be coming in terms of x and y, will not be coming in terms of z. So how we can replace xy in terms of z? So here fz equals to uxy plus ivxy. So we know that z equals to x plus iy. So the harmonic, so the complement of z is z bar, that is x minus iy. So if I want to get the value of x in terms of z, we can just add these two equations and divide by 2, that is z plus z bar by 2. So that will be x, and z minus z bar by 2i, that will be y. So fz will be u. Instead of x, we will be substituting this z plus z bar by 2, comma. Instead of y, we are substituting this z minus z bar by 2i. Similarly, in case of v, instead of x, we are using this. Instead of v, we are using this. Okay. So here, if we substitute this, so here ultimately u and v are coming in terms of z and z bar. So xy is replaced now in terms of z and z bar. But in order to frame the function fz, we actually need the variable z. We don't need the variable z bar. But here, whenever we are converting xy into z and z bar, so there both z and z bar are present. So somehow we need to eliminate z bar. So how we can eliminate z bar from here? So here z and z are arbitrary. So we can put any value of z and z bar that must satisfy this condition. So here we are taking say z equals to z bar, because if the function is analytic, then for that function the variable z and z bar will be same. So if you put here z equals to z bar, then you will be getting this as z, this will be 0, that will be z, that will be 0. So ultimately if you compare these two functions, then fz is uxy plus ivxy, and if you put this condition, then it will be uz0 plus ivz0. So here just we need to replace x by z and y by 0 to convert this into a function of z only. So here in the partial derivative also, this is a function of x and y. So similarly we need to put x by z and y by 0. So this derivative will be converted into del u del x z0 minus I del u del y z0. So now it is converted into a function of z in the right hand side. So this is df dz. So now we can integrate both sides with respect to z normally to get the value of fz. So here, without finding out v, just by replacing xy in terms of z, we can construct fz whenever u is given or v is given. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Sir, one point, sir. Why z is equal to z bar? Sir, you have taken.
Yeah, why z equals to z bar? Because here, ultimately the variables are x, y. So whenever we are using these two equations, from there I am getting both variables in terms of z and z bar. But in order to construct the function fz, we need only the variable z. So we don't need z bar. So somehow we need to eliminate z bar. So how we can eliminate? So here z and z bar both are arbitrary. So for any value of z and z bar, this equation must be satisfied. Because this z and z bar is not dependent on the value of each other. Rather it is dependent on x and y. So this will be satisfied for any value of x and y. So that's why if I put z equals to z bar, then there is no problem because z equals to z bar is a particular condition. So this particular condition will also be satisfied since here z and z bar are arbitrary. Then only we can actually convert this function in terms of z only. No z bar will be present over here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No.
Okay, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I am discussing one problem. So here u is this. So it is asked to find out the fz directly. So if you want to use the previous two methods, just from here you need to find out v, then you need to add them together in the form of u plus iv to frame the analytic function fz. But here, since it is asked to frame the fz, the analytic function fz directly without finding out v, so we will be proceeding with by using the Milner-Thomson method. So you know that f dash z equals to del u del x xy plus del v del x xy. So del v del x will be replaced by minus del u del y since u is given, v is not given. So now we need to find out del u del x. So this is u. So what will be del u del x? This term that contains x will be differentiated. This is a product of two terms. So I am differentiating this with respect to x first. This will be minus e to the power minus x. This will be fixed. Again, that this will be fixed. The derivative of this one will be derivative of x will be 1 and this will be sin y. And this is terms contains y, so that will be 0 while we are differentiating with respect to x partial. So I have got this minus I del u del y. So del u del y means we need to differentiate this partially with respect to y. So this is constant because this is a term that contains x. We need to differentiate this partially. So this is x that will be constant while we are differentiating with respect to y. So derivative of sin y with respect to y will be cos y minus this is a product of two terms in y. So first we will be differentiating this with respect to y, that is 1, cos y is fixed, plus this y is fixed, the derivative of cos y, that is minus sin y, so that will be plus. So what we need to do? So as per the previous method, we can replace x by z and y by 0. So we have replaced x by z and y by 0. So if we replace x by z and y by 0, we will be getting this. If you simplify this, we will be getting this one. So ultimately f dash z is this. So if we integrate this both sides with respect to z, this will be fz, that is I into integration of this with respect to z. Okay. So here this is the product of two terms, e to the power minus z z. So we need to use the integration by parts. Integration by parts means this term should be fixed. The integration of this with respect to z, that is minus e to the power minus z, plus differentiation of this, integration of this, again the integration of whole thing, plus integration of this. So if you simplify this term will be deducted. So ultimately you will be getting this term. So here you don't need to find out v in order to construct fz. Rather, directly we can find out fz in terms of z whenever the real part is given or imaginary part if it is given. Also we can do in the same way. Was that clear?
Yes, sir. Sir, in exam, if it comes and we will solve from this method, then directly we will substitute, we will write x equal to z and y equal to
Yeah.
0.
So you will write by using the Milner-Thomson, since we are going to use the Milner-Thomson method, so we are here substituting x by z and y by 0.
Okay, sir.
So whenever you will use the first two methods, so you can use the first two methods whenever you will be asked to find out the harmonic conjugate. And if you are not asked to find out the harmonic conjugate, rather you are asked to find out the analytic function directly, then you can use the Milner-Thomson method. Was that clear?
Yes, sir.
Then there are a few applications of this first chapter, that is if fz is analytic and mod of this function is constant, then the function itself will be constant. And if fz is analytic, this sort of equalities will be holding. So actually these sort of few applications I have given on over PPT. So I'll be sharing the PPT after the class gets over. You can go through the solve problems, and if you find out any difficulties, any problems in solving those things, in understanding those things, in the next class you can ask me. I'll be solving that thing. So after the class gets over, just I'll be sharing the PPT in the Google Classroom. I hope I have shared only one lecture note. So I'll be sharing two lecture notes. So just go through that things. And if you face any problem in understanding any solved problems, in the next class you will be asking that. Then our first chapter will be finished in module 1. In the next class I will be starting the second chapter. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So this link of handwritten note I am sharing here in the Google Meet. So those who have account in Evernote, just you can copy this link and later on you can just log into your account and click this link and you can see the handwritten note. And I will be sharing the PPT in the Google Classroom after the class gets over. Okay, let me take your attendance manually. After that, I'll be giving the IMCRP example.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, whether to find the function fz is analytic or not. Sir, if we get that it satisfy the Riemann equation, it is not necessary that it will be analytic.
Sorry, your voice is not audible. Can you say a bit louder?
Hello, sir. If we have to find
Yeah.
whether fz is analytic or not,
Ah.
sir, if it satisfy the Riemann equation, it is not necessary that it will be an analytic function.
No, if it satisfies the Cauchy-Riemann equation, then you need to check whether all the four partialities are continuous or not. If all the four partialities are not continuous, then although it is satisfying the Cauchy-Riemann equation, it may not be analytic. So both the conditions must be satisfied.
Okay, sir.
I have discussed now. I'll be sharing the note. I have discussed it also. I have shown a few examples where the function is satisfying the Cauchy-Riemann equation, but it is not analytic since it is the partialities are not continuous. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
So both the conditions must be satisfied. Okay. So rule number one, two,
Present, sir.
three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Yes, sir.
9, 10, 11,
Present, sir.
12,
Present, sir.
13, 14,
Yes, sir.
15,
Yes, sir.
16, 17, 18,
16 present, sir.
19,
Present, sir.
20.
16 present.
Present, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, roll number 10, Kaushal is present. He's saying that his mic is not working.
Okay. So this is the IMCRP code and this is the link. So just click the link and give the class test by 11:20. So I'm sharing the next two lecture notes in the Google Classroom. Just you can verify later on.
Hello, sir. Shantanu, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I couldn't give my attendance for my network connection, sir. So I was present.
Okay.
And, sir, can you share the IMCRT again?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So can you access? All of you can access the class.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Sorry, sir. Suddenly my mic stopped working. I had to unplug and put it back in.
Yes.
Hopefully my voice is clear now.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I am present, sir.
Okay. See. So can you all access the exam code which I have shared right now? Just
Yes, sir.
someone. Oh.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so thank you all for attending today's class. So I'll be sharing the PPT in the Google Classroom. Next two PPTs. So just go through once. The solve problems which I've given over there. So just go through once. And if you face any kind of problem before the commencement of next class, just let me know. I'll be solving that. Otherwise, I'll be studying the chapter 2 in the next class. Okay. And finish the class test by 11:20. Okay, thank you all for attending today's class. I'm leaving.